Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 6 of the Couch Guy Sports Yellow Card Podcast. With me, as always, Chris Jones, myself, Diego Galvis. This week's topic will definitely be the October 5th transfer deadline. If you were a soccer fan and you didn't realize October 5th had passed you, and you didn't realize the amount of soccer transfers that went on, you guys have catching up to do for sure. However, in this week's transfer deadline, there were so many good transfers that took on and that went on as well. Every single league in the world involved in what was by far the busiest transfer deadline there's been in years. Regardless of COVID-19, regardless of everything that's going on in the whole entire world with this pandemic, people were still fully invested. I still don't get how all of this money came out, was available, and people were able to transfer around. Regardless of that, it was at a good time too, because right now there is the international break where a bunch of these elite players in every single league are, doing their international duties, and they're killing it as well. So make sure to check out episode 7 next week. We will definitely be on that. Chris, talk to me. How are you feeling about some of the transfer deadlines? Let's start with the ever exciting English Premier League. As we both know, that is starting to turn out like a hot one for this year. We thought it was going to be hot, but this one is flaming hot. It's already burning.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be very, very good. I just think I think Arsenal's the big winner of the transfer deadline. Honestly, out of the EPL, because they got a midfielder and Thomas Partey. Like I mentioned in a couple of episodes ago, that he would be a good fit for them.
Yeah, you mentioned it a few times. Yeah, maybe. I don't even remember. Once, twice, maybe. I don't know.
Once, twice, I don't know. Maybe 5. But you could tell that Arsenal is full on ready to try and win the Premier League this year, and that move is 100% going to be the reason why they could potentially do it. Partey is just such a great midfielder. You can literally play him, especially in that formation. Mikel Arteta can literally play him in different sides of the midfield. He can play as the center defensive midfield. He can play as the midfielder on the left side, the right side, however they want to go about it. He's a great ad for them. Also an ad that people really aren't talking about that I think could help save a team like Southampton from going down is the ad of Theo Walcott from Everton. It is a loan for a year, but Southampton needed a guy to help up front in order to create opportunities, to create chances, and to do what he can do. And basically what's going to happen is Southampton now, in my opinion, has solidified themselves in the middle of the table, which is going to be good to see. But I'll let you go because obviously you and I both know about Manchester United moves that have been made. Let you hit the nail on the head right there real quick to start us off.
Well, thank you. But I mean, before I even get into Manchester United, we have both talked about the major needs for a defender improvement in every single team around the world. There's not one team around the world right now that can say they have the most solid defense set up right now. There are some solid defenders, but the defenses are not connecting with one another. You got Thiago Costa in Chelsea still struggling to fit in. Don't even get me started about the disaster of Manchester United. Even Real Madrid, they got Sergio Ramos and Rafael Varane, but they've been together for years and they still struggle to connect. They still make the silliest of mistakes that a team like Real Madrid shouldn't be making. But in the English Premier League, though, it seemed like only 2 teams seem to have gotten that disconnect. Those teams being Everton with the addition of Ben Godfrey from Norwich City. That was a hell of an addition, to be honest with you. If Everton didn't already have a superior team, now they're definitely a top 4 contender. There's no question about it. They also added pressure onto Jordan Pickford, one that has been a complete slop in the net. They added the Swedish international. What was his name? Robin Olsen, I believe is his name.
Yep.
So it's a good addition. I personally thought Everton should have gone for Sergio Romero from Manchester United. Take him away from that third spot because
I think the disrespect from some of these teams for Sergio Romero was the most surprising thing in the transfer window.
It's ridiculous. The guy is an elite goalkeeper. If Dean Henderson wasn't at Manchester United right now, if I was Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, I would start Sergio Romero over David De Gea any day and night, even if I was completely hammered and couldn't function for days.
I don't know. It's just that whole dynamic with those goalkeepers. You know, every time we talk about Manchester United and we talk about what they need to do to improve, you always mention the point of that they need to get rid of David De Gea.
Yeah.
And literally, the more and the more and the more that I've literally sat down and I thought about it,
the more it makes sense.
They have some talented guys in the back end.
Yeah.
For goalkeepers.
Yeah.
Why not move on from De Gea, get some money from him, and solidify your defenders?
It's much like Chelsea did with Courtois. They got rid of him and solidified their goalkeeping area. They have a hell of a keeper in Kepa Arrizabalaga, and they just added this guy Mendy, who's also amazing. The guy's solid in the back pipes like no one else is. So it makes no sense to me. I also agree with you on the Arsenal addition. The Partey has really arrived to London. I'm excited to see this guy. I really am. He was tremendous at Atletico. I think, if anything, Diego Simeone just took a huge loss right there. I hope he can bounce back. But to be quite frankly honest, even though Southampton and Leeds United also made some moves, it's easy to say that Manchester United was the winner for the English Premier League, but it was a necessary win for them because they needed a wing defender in Alex Telles, who is a gigantic addition for them. If that didn't add pressure to Luke Shaw and the defense, I don't know what will. They got the young 18-year-old from Atalanta. And let's be honest, Atalanta has been building a gigantic franchise over the years.
Yep.
They have an amazing forward front, which also competed in the international break, and they were both amazing. But this 18-year-old, people in sports pundits around the world have been saying this kid could be the next Lionel Messi. So I'm curious to see why that is. I personally haven't paid much attention to the kid. I know he's good. I've seen a few games. I want to see how he does in the English Premier League. I'm excited about the other 18-year-old Facundo Pellistri. I've seen the Uruguayan play, and I can personally say that Uruguayan league, Peñarol, it is a extremely physical and difficult league to be competing on. If you watch the Mexican league and you watch the MLS, it is just those two compared and blended in. It is just that physical. It is a very, like I've said, very physically driven game. And Facundo Pellistri couldn't make more sense for Manchester United right now than anybody else. I'm also excited about Cavani. El Matador has arrived to Manchester. I'm hell of excited about that because somebody needs to lit a fire under Anthony Martial's ass. I've been saying this for, 5 episodes now? Almost every episode I've said this. But it's true. The Frenchman just thinks that he's got the position solidified for himself and himself only. Not really thinking of a young teenager in Mason Greenwood. Not thinking of Odion Igalo, who's looking to make a name for himself after coming back from the Chinese league. And not thinking that there's competition elsewhere as well. I mean, Theo Walcott could have easily gone to Manchester United too.
Mm-hmm.
Very easily. But Southampton needed a forward, and quite frankly, we could have used them, but we didn't have the money. And to be quite frankly honest too, this whole entire pressure and ideal dream that the Glaciers have in bringing Jadon Sancho is by far the stupidest single thing I've ever seen Manchester United do. Now, what I think the next move really needs to be is after all of these moves that Manchester United just made, and also letting go of Chris Smalling, which was by far the stupidest thing they could have done, considering they needed another center back, and Chris Smalling is solid in center.
Mm-hmm.
The next move that they really need to make is if Ole Gunnar Solskjaer cannot perform with this team, he's got to go. He's got to go. Somebody legendary within Manchester United needs to come in. And somebody with a rigorous and serious personality. Somebody along the lines of Roy Keane, Paul Scholes. Somebody even, hell, I'd even bring what's his name? Not Nistelrooy. What was the other Norwegian that was in Manchester United for a while?
Jeez. I was thinking of Van Nistelrooy. I can't think of the other one.
No. Damn it, I'm drawing a blank. I should know this.
No, right? This is your team, man.
I know. I should know this. I feel horrendous, actually.
Come on, dude. You're killing me right now.
I'm killing myself, frankly. Let's see here.
Nope, that's not them. Are you sure it's Norwegian?
Robin Van Persie. There you go.
There it is.
RVP.
Oh, how do we forget about RVP, dude?
I don't know. I must be hungover myself too.
Oh well, he's not Norwegian. That's why he's Dutch. When you say Norwegian, you throw me off. I was like, doesn't sound right.
Whatever.
Jeez, dude.
But the guy was solid. Hell, even better. I'd bring Wayne Rooney. Into the picture. The guy
he's still playing,
United.
Dude. He's still playing.
That's the thing, though. The guy is so solid that he's still playing.
He's still playing.
A really good.
It's so funny. It's so funny because I completely forgot that he was still playing, and I was watching.
The guy's nuts. Though.
I was watching.
He still has it.
I was watching the EFL game. They were playing. Who the fuck was it? I think it was Watford. And like he scored in like the first minute. I was like, dude, what are we doing? I was like, already you're doing this? I was like,
just even I don't know if you remember this, but a couple of years ago in the MLS, did you see his highlight play with DC United?
Yep.
He literally flew from the opposite end of the field to come back and rescue a ball, run back, cross it in for what was an incredible finale of that game. I don't get it. He's old as shit, and the guy still has a really good physical.
We say old, but he's only 34. He's only 34.
He shouldn't be running like that.
He's good. It's good. It's good build. He's got a good build.
Yeah, he's.
Dude, but he's 34, right? And then fucking Lionel Messi's 33?
Yeah, he's struggling.
33. And then you got Cristiano Ronaldo.
I think it's like 32, 33. Maybe even 35.
Cristiano Ronaldo is 35.
Yeah. And then
he's still scoring 30 goals, you know?
And then you got somebody like Zlatan Ibrahimovic. Yeah. Yeah. Nope. But
we can get off topic. I think the big thing that Manchester United is going to have to do to get the wheels turning in order to succeed in the Premier League this year is that for the next upcoming transfer list, by the time that is the case, they need to do two things. One, they need to make sure that Donny van de Beek is in a starting role.
Oh, that's another thing. That's one I don't understand either.
And two, if you're Manchester United and you're in the middle of the table at that very moment, you need to figure out what the future is with De Gea, and you need to go out and pay for either Upamecano or David Alaba, two young talented center backs that can help take you to the next level.
Or even better, you don't even need to make that much moves either. You can easily sell De Gea, keep that money for next year's transfers, and put McTominay in that center back role. He's played center back, and he actually just played it for Scotland. And the guy was actually really fucking solid.
Well, then do that. Then I don't know
But-
I don't know what their issue is. There's always
the
something
issue is the following: it's the locker room, the mentality, and the way that you're coaching these people. You're still thinking of them as your buddies. And when you are developing that relationship as just buddies and buddies and buddies, nobody's taking you seriously. Absolutely nobody. Because right now you're almost dead last in the table right now and not making any headway. And then in the meantime, you got other teams like Everton, for example, who nobody expected to be this good, showing you off.
Yep.
You're Manchester United. You're supposed to be the legacy of the English Premier League, and yet you look like just a bag of trash with some decent toys in it. I don't get it. I don't get it. But anyways, let's move on to let's do a random one.
Let's go La Liga because there weren't that many big time.
Sure. Let's do La Liga.
Let's do La Liga.
I like that one.
We can dish in real quick. What is your take on who won and who lost in the transfers? Because I already know who won the transfer pool for La Liga, and I think you already know who I'm thinking of as well.
Quite frankly, that just wasn't so much that happened that I don't. To me, there's really not a winner and a loser. I think the loser is still Real Madrid because they haven't done jack of anything.
Well, the loser 100% is Real Madrid. You and I can both agree on that.
Yeah, but the winner, I mean, other than Rayo Vallecano, that's the only one that I can think of. Because they
just
got,
for the whole transfer
Lucas
thing
Zidane.
period. The whole transfer thing.
Oh, you're talking about the whole transfer period. I would
Mhm.
say Barcelona is the winner.
Yeah.
I would go out and say Barcelona.
Forgetting Dest from Ajax. Is that why?
Yes.
Yeah. Atletico Madrid, man.
Really?
They single-handedly won the transfer pool.
They did get Suarez, which
is already
yeah.
a big grab for them.
Yes.
Like I said, they needed a guy to go with João Felix. They got the guy to go with João Felix. Diego Costa could very well be on the outs soon. And then, they get rid of Partey, but from Arsenal, they bring in Lucas Torreira, who could very well be what they need in the midfield to fill in for Partey.
So this is the way that I feel about Atletico, though. For Atletico, I'm really not that worried because they actually have a coach that gives two shreds of a shit about his team.
Oh, I'm not worried about
Simeone breathes, lives, and everything else, Atletico Madrid. The guy, that's his DNA. So for him to take on somebody like Luis Suarez, to take on Luca Torreira, the guy's got the capabilities to do it because he knows player development. Something that Zinedine Zidane and some of these coaches in the English and the Spanish La Liga don't have the time to do it, other than Lopetegui with Sevilla. But the guy actually had a fire lit under his ass because he had a failing career. For Simeone, you can't really say that, considering that the guy took Atletico Madrid and did a complete 360-degree turn with them. And for years, Atletico has had actually a very solid team.
They have.
Incredibly solid.
And I agree with you. But I think that now they legitimately have taken that extra step up front, attacking-wise, to get the pressure off the back end and to start creating and to create some havoc. So in their last two games that they played up until the international break was against Pesca and Villarreal, both 0-0 draws. 6-1 they beat Granada. and they haven't scored in 2 games. Is it an issue? It could be. But at the same time, All Blacks giving you clean sheets.
Yes.
That's the big thing. All Black is giving you clean sheets. You played Celta the 17th when we come back. Then you have your first Champions League game against Bayern Munich, the defending UEFA Champions League champions, which is going to be a great game. I can't wait to watch it.
I can't wait.
It's Wednesday the 21st at 3 p.m. Eastern time for where we are. But they have some good games coming up. They play Barcelona in November. Excuse me. Then their second match with Bayern Munich is at the beginning of December. Then they got Real Madrid in December. And then they're just casually playing the league. So, we'll see how it plays out. But I still like Atletico Madrid. I think
I would personally even
winners.
Yeah, I would personally go out of the way and say that they're the clear-cut winners, with maybe Sevilla and Barcelona right behind them. But Real Madrid isn't going to do anything this year. They're a wash. They're an absolute wash.
I love how you call them a wash, and they're literally 3-1-0 as they're in first place in the table as we speak.
But look who they've played.
It's my favorite thing that you do. I love it. They played. Let's see.
Look who they've played. They haven't really played any hard contenders.
Levante. They played Real Betis. They played Real Sociedad, and they played Valladolid.
Exactly.
Saturday the 24th, they play Barcelona.
And that's when we get to test them out. Until they are fully tested, I will not change my opinion about Real Madrid. And I'm a fan of Real Madrid. I can't change my opinion of Real Madrid right now until they are actually tested. To me, Zinedine Zidane should not be the coach of Real Madrid any longer. He hasn't done any moves. He hasn't done anything with the team. See ya. He's Ole Gunnar Solskjaer of Real Madrid.
I think the big thing for Barcelona, Real Madrid, you have your issues with it. Barcelona, for me, is they're not going to go anywhere unless they figure out what to do with Griezmann. Either play him up front as the striker or move on from him, because him on the left wing does not work. He can't play it. He's not comfortable there. And the second that he goes to a team where he can play striker, or if he even plays striker for Barcelona, he's going to go buck wild.
I just don't understand why Barcelona doesn't line up in either a 4-4-2 formation or a 4-1-3-2 formation. Something that would make sense for Griezmann to be a striker. Because I agree with you. Griezmann is not a left winger, and he's not a right winger by any means. No. He is a solid striker. That's how he succeeded at Atletico. He was a striker for them. He was never a winger.
No, he wasn't.
And I bet you anything, if Griezmann was to be traded off to, let's say, AC Milan, for example, okay, the guy would be put as a striker.
He would be. Literally any other team that he would play for, he'd be played as a striker. And also,
again, that comes to what I've been saying: poor management of teams.
And also in Barcelona, they need to figure out what they're going to do with Ousmane Dembele, because he's not happy there. And I don't think by the time that the next transfer window opens, I don't think he'll be there.
No,
because there's one team that he wants to go to, and there's one team that I would love to see him play for. Juventus, baby. He wants to play for Juventus.
I would love to see him learn from.
Get him on the wing.
I would love to see him play next to somebody like Juan Cuadrado or Cristiano Ronaldo, because he is so young. He still has so much to learn, and if he learns, he could be the next big potential.
He's 23 years old.
The problem is, again, Ronald Koeman does not have that sense of management with certain players.
No, he does not.
He's washing them away. Like you and I.
I'm gonna tell you right now that he better not ruin Felipe Coutinho, because I'll be so upset with him.
He might. He very well could.
Coutinho is so good. He better not mess up Coutinho.
I feel like what happens with Coutinho is the same thing that's happened with James Rodriguez. Ancelotti knows how to handle James Rodriguez really well and understands his dynamic.
Yep.
He succeeded at Real Madrid. He was successful at Bayern Munich. And now he's with Everton, and he's successful again. But when James came back to Real Madrid, and he was under, let's try first. When he stayed with Rafael Benitez, Rafael sat him down. He didn't even give him a chance. He sat him down. And every time that James Rodriguez was coming off the bench, the guy was scoring goals. He saved them from losing an embarrassing Clasico against Barcelona that year. He goes to Bayern Munich. He succeeds under Ancelotti. The new young guy comes in, basically breaks the dynamic to the point that he's kicked out of there as well. And so James Rodriguez is back to Real Madrid to deal with what was supposed to be his role model, but really ended up being his enemy. Stays on the bench. The guy still pretty much single-handedly saves the season for them, along with Gareth Bale, who's coming off the bench. And now he's at Everton as a starting 11 player with freedom to go wherever he wants in the middle. He's unstoppable. That's what's going to happen with Philippe Coutinho. That is exactly what is going to happen. He worked out so well for Bayern Munich because Bayern Munich's head coach knew what to do with him. He understood him. Valverde, don't even get me started on him. He was a tragedy for Barcelona. And Ronald Koeman, until he gets in his brain that Philippe Coutinho is not just a one-position man, he's going to ruin him over.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I don't see anything else happening for Philippe Coutinho. I don't. Unless he gets transferred out.
Not in Barcelona. Definitely not.
No.
Let's
now let's go into the Serie A. Serie A had some moves.
Do you want to do Serie A, or do you want to touch upon the German League quickly and then finish with Serie A?
I mean, we can do the German League. Yeah. German League has some good action.
Let's do the German League quickly.
Sure.
So the German League, in my opinion, the only thing that I've noticed out of the German League is that Bayern Munich retooled. And they retooled very well. They got some talent.
They get, to say the least.
they get Douglas Costa on loan from Juventus.
They get him back. They get him back, which is gigantic for him too.
They get Eric Maxime Choupo-Moting from PSG for free, just an extra attacker for them. And
imagine
then
him and Lewandowski together.
And then they
start
get
4-4-2 formation.
And then they get Bonassar from Marseille for $8 million.
And don't forget Marc Roda from Espanyol.
Yep.
Espanyol just gave up their season right there by lending Marc Roda away. They just gave up their season.
Oh, I agree with you there. I agree with you 100%.
The guy's got a lot of potential.
He does.
But I wouldn't sell the other teams so short either, though, because an example, Hertha Berlin, they got Guendouzi from Arsenal. He's still young. Yeah. He's got a lot of football to play.
Yeah, but they got him on loan. Could be going back to Arsenal after this year. I think one move that I noticed that wasn't a Bayern Munich move was Leipzig got Kluivert from Roma on loan.
Yes.
Which is going to help them tremendously offensively.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Another one that I'm excited about too, though, and I'm not sure if you remember him well enough, is Werder Bremen's David Klaassen. He is legendary with Werder Bremen, and the guy still has a lot to prove. I'll be excited to watch him. Hoffenheim as well. They got Ryan Sexton and Sebastian Rudy added to their roster. Sebastian Rudy is another one that is a silent one, but has a lot to prove. So, German League, well, yeah, the clear winner is Bayern Munich. There's no question about that.
Right.
There's still some good contenders there, though.
No,
still some good ones.
So, if we're looking at where I think everybody is going to finish. Obviously, the top two, you and I both agree, are Bayern Munich and Dortmund.
Oh, no question. Yeah.
I think that we're going to get in that. I think Leipzig drops down. I don't think they're in Champions League football next year.
No.
I think we're going to get.
Hang on. Don't also fall asleep on Bayern Leverkusen either. Though.
I was just about to say we're going
They
to get
added
Leverkusen.
Santiago Arias.
I was just about to say we're going to get Leverkusen back in Champions League football next year.
Yes.
And I think that Borussia, the Mönchengladbach, as you know, that took me a little bit to think of how to say it. Who's in Champions League football now?
Yes.
I think they stay in Champions League football with coming in fourth place in the Bundesliga.
I would think, obviously the top two guys, Bayern Munich and Borussia Dortmund. I'd say Leverkusen third, and I would actually say Hertha Berlin fourth. That addition of Matteo Guendouzi is actually one that people overlook, but actually don't see how much potential this kid's got. He just comes from playing one of the most physical leagues there is in the whole entire world. And he's going into what is a methodical style of playing in Germany, which is be quick, but pass the ball. And so I'm kind of excited actually for the kid. I wasn't much of a Guendouzi fan before, but seeing him grow, I don't see why not give the kid a try. I really don't.
Yeah.
But now let's move on to Serie A because
that
was another league that was juicy with transfers.
The top two leagues for transfers were the Premier League and definitely Serie A.
Oh, no question. Yeah.
I'll
let you get started because you're more of a Juventus fan than I am. So I'm sure you got some excited. I'm sure you got some excitement about Federico Chiesa joining.
Yeah, I mean,
Juventus.
I've seen him play at Fiorentina, so I'm aware of where he's been and how good he potentially can be. I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of upset at the fact that was really like the big move for them. I was waiting for obviously not like a Cristiano Ronaldo type-esque move, but I was waiting for them to get like a move for not even a forward, but like a winger / midfielder that could legit come in and solidify a role right off the bat. Don't get me wrong, love Arthur. I think he's going to be very good for us. But other than that, I mean, the midfield for me, it doesn't do it for me. I like it. I don't love it. That's my issue.
I personally was waiting for the big move, which was I personally thought it was going to be a three-way move. And here's how I picture it in my head. Alexander Lacazette leaving Arsenal, going to Juventus. Paulo Dybala being signed by Manchester United. And Manchester United sending Jesse Lingard and what else? Potentially even Fred over to Arsenal, where they can get more playtime.
Yeah.
For some reason, that didn't happen. Whatever, that could be in the summer transfer. But I agree with you. Juventus is in need of an additional winger because with so many injury-prone players that Juventus currently has, you're kind of putting your eggs all in one basket, and that is a recipe for disaster. I like Andrea Pirlo and what he's doing with Juventus. Don't get me wrong, the guy.
I like the different.
That's why he's a legend.
I like the different looks that we're getting,
but it concerns me the health of these players, which I can't stress enough how important that is, especially during a pandemic situation where they need to be taking more care of their bodies. They just have to. But aside of Juventus, though, I was actually kind of really excited for not just AC Milan, but also Roma, because AC Milan now has acquired a very young and talented Diego Dalot, who I thought Manchester United was a complete fool of letting go of.
Right.
The kid is so versatile. He's a great defender winger, but he's got the potential of being a midfield winger as well. And he's got that drive. So Manchester United did not only just look like a fool, but they're potentially risking a permanent deal for Diogo Dalot to go to AC Milan, where he could thrive. Roma also took advantage of Manchester United, like I said previously, and they signed permanently Chris Smalling. Why is it that Chris Smalling could thrive under a Roma under a Roma type of team, but for some reason, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer doesn't see that potential? I don't get it. I struggle to understand that. I really don't get it. And
you should be lucky that it's just a loan.
Diogo Dalot is just a loan. Chris Smalling is a permanent deal. That is a big loss.
Chris Smalling, I don't know how you don't bring him back.
That is a big loss.
And for 15 million, that is a legit steal for Roma.
Yeah.
That's a steal for Roma.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I was listening to a interview between Roy Keane and several pundits of beIN Sports, and Roy Keane hit the nail right in the head about Manchester United, asking in regards of why is it that these other teams are able to succeed with the same exact quality players that they're taking away from Manchester United, but Manchester United themselves can't. And the reason being is it's not so much the quality players that you bring in at this point, it's what you're training them to do, what your training style is that you bring in. And that's why I am a firm believer now more than ever that Manchester United needs to invest in their team management, sacking Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, sacking Michael Carrick, I'm sorry. They need to sack this whole entire management people. Get out of there immediately. Keep Ed Woodward because the guy is actually willing to work with you. And I'm not much of a Woodward fan, but they need to sack these internal management people who are preparing these players for their next games. Clearly, what you're doing in training isn't working. And on top of that, you just handed the captainship to Harry Maguire, who hasn't been with the team for years. You need somebody that's been there for years. It's sad what they're doing. But regardless, Udinese in Italian Serie A also scored some major points too. They just took from Wolves basically their ignition because they took Gerard Deulofeu, which we both know he's fucking talented.
Yep.
And Ignacio Puzzetto as well, who is gonna be a huge addition for Udinese. So now Udinese is all of a sudden in the picture. Inter Milan, however, stayed quiet, but during the whole entire transfer window, they were also big winners.
Yep.
Very big winners. They just got Matteo Darmian via loan from Parma, which is a good loan. It's not an earth-shattering move. But again, they made some really good moves earlier in the transfer window because they're a team that actually gives a damn about growing.
I think.
What about the Fiorentina move, though? Because that's another one that we haven't talked about, and that one is a surprising move because this one is sourced completely out of the unexpected as well, which is the Argentinian league. Lucas Martinez, who is River Plate's basically king of all trades, gets transferred to Fiorentina. There is so much good happening out of these South American leagues that people tend to overlook. And all of a sudden, you have 23, 22, 21, even teenagers with so much talent that you have yet to tap into. But anyways, you're gonna say something else as well.
I just think my last take on the transfer window from Serie A, because I feel like you hit the head on the majority of it. I think Napoli, low key on that loan they got from Chelsea.
Bakayoko?
Mm-hmm. I was
Oh,
trying.
that was
I
a big
think
move.
I think that's a big move for Napoli,
Oh yeah,
and I think
I
they
agree.
shot up my rankings a little bit because of that.
Yep.
So that's another team to watch out for.
But Lazio also added Andreas Pereira. That's another young, talented kid too.
And they also got what was his name? Wesley Hope from Southampton on loan, defender.
Oh, big move too.
Mm-hmm.
And I can actually see Wesley Hope actually becoming a good defender under an Italian management league, because that's what Italians are good for. They're very good building defenders. But anyways, out of the overall transfer window, who do you see as your top 2 winners and your top 2 losers, in your opinion?
I think my top 2 winners. Obviously, I'm big on Arsenal. I think Arsenal absolutely killed it with the Partey move.
Yeah, that
I
was
think
a
it
big
was
move.
much necessary, and they, in my opinion, stole that. And also, I mean, I'm depending on if we're talking the whole thing. Do you count Chelsea because of the fact that they, with all the ads that they've made?
Yeah, of course. I mean,
So
anything prior to October 5th also counts.
I would say Chelsea and Arsenal, in all honesty, and even as like a 2B, I'd put. So I do like Chelsea 1. I would say Arsenal 2A, 2B. I would say Everton.
Yeah, I was gonna say. So what are your top 2 losers though in this whole entire transfer window?
In all honesty, I'm gonna say Man City, because they were very, very, very much in on Lionel Messi. They couldn't get it done with Barcelona, and.
But I mean, that one, do you blame him though? That closure.
And also too, though, you think of it, the only move that they made was to get Ruben Diaz. They have no depth up front, and they're hurt up front desperately. They need help.
I agree.
And I think the other loser, in all honesty, is Real Madrid, because they didn't do anything.
Yes.
They need to fix something, and they didn't do anything. So I would say those are my 2 big winners and 2 big losers from the transfer window.
So for me, I'm gonna say biggest winner in the transfer window right now to me is Everton. No question about it. I mean, I get it. Chelsea added some big names and whatnot. They made some big splashes. But let's be honest. Everton right now is cashing in on those moves big time.
Yeah, no, I agree with you 100%.
And my other winner, I will say, is Bayern Munich as well. Because while they don't necessarily need to make any moves at all, they just came back and said, you might think we're all set, but we're here for another round of titles. My big losers, Manchester United and Real Madrid. Manchester United needed some center backs. They needed to get rid of De Gea. They needed to make some moves as well there. They didn't do that. They added some great depth and potentials. That's great. You still have a problem with the goalies. Until you don't clear that out, your team is never going to be the same. And Real Madrid, I mean, I agree with you. It's a dead story at this point. But anyways, that wraps up episode 6 of the Yellow Card Podcast today with Chris Jones and Diego Galvez myself. Please continue to check out CouchGuySports.com and also check out the merchandise at CouchGuySportsShop.com. Thank you as always, and please tune in Sunday for episode 7. Thank you very much.